Call to order this meeting of the Park City Board of Education. We will begin with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The board will now adjourn to a closed session for the purpose of a strategy session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation, or to discuss the character, professional competence, or physical or mental health of an individual or person.
You can make a motion to move closed for reasons stated.
I'll make such a.
All in favor, just roll call.
Aye.
Meredith, yes.
Nick, yes.
Susan.
get on with our regular meeting and our agenda. Before we do that, though. Superintendent,
Yes. Yes, sorry.
I just want to take a minute before we get into our agenda items, because between last month's meeting and this meeting, we had a really important anniversary. On January 29th, it was the 1-year anniversary of Lindsay Huntsman's appointment to Superintendent of Park City School District. And Lindsay, when you stepped into leadership of our district, you did so at a time of real challenge. We had low trust, lingering turmoil, and significant organizational transformation ahead. You walked into that moment with courage and clarity, and you have met every challenge with grace, tenacity, strength, and even humor when we needed it most. I'm deeply grateful for the leader that you are. Your ambition for our district is unmistakable. You continuously push us to achieve more for our students while never losing sight of the people doing the work. You've prioritized open communication, modeled transparency, and invested in building strong leaders throughout the system. That commitment will shape our district for years to come. In just 1 year, you've accomplished more than I could have imagined. Your steady leadership has made a meaningful difference, and we are truly fortunate to have you guiding our schools forward.
Thank you. Got to my surprise.
Okay, next up, we've got our school highlight from Trailside Elementary. Please join us.
Great, well, good afternoon and congratulations, Lindsay, on a whole year. I want to thank you guys for having me today and inviting me to talk about Trailside, which is the best topic of the day. So here we go with our presentation. First of all, it is a joy and a privilege to talk to you about Trailside this afternoon and tell you about all the greatness of our school. So you're familiar with the pillars. These are the values and the mission statements of PCSD. And so in the next slides, I'll tell you how Trailside supports each initiative. So with our mission and vision, the mission being that we are allowing students to achieve through equitable means, not only their academic, but their social potential. And, I firmly believe as a leader to solve problems for students, and there's many ways that we do that each day at our school. So removing any obstacle from a student as they enter our campus is the first goal. I think we all know that if students are bumped by anything happening at home or in their lives, it's going to be difficult for them to learn. So when we grow all students academically, we have, many different groups that we meet the needs of, but one of our focuses at Trailside has been our MLO population, making sure that we remove any security needs, food needs, social needs, anxiety, language barriers. We have Ms. Eva, our outreach coordinator, that does a fantastic job making sure that they have everything from a Halloween costume to, skis when it's YSA day. And so all those obstacles are removed so that they feel like they can achieve their full potential. Our special needs population has grown, and in my opinion is going to continue to grow at Trailside. That population is about 10% at Trailside, and we continue to get students with severe complex needs. And our special education department is just rising to every occasion. With the addition of our aides, hiring a new special education teacher that was formerly at the high school, highly qualified to handle students with autism, but then also supporting Mary Catherine O'Brien in her role. So the special needs population is significant at Trailside, and it's very inclusive. They come in happy. They're our favorite greeters. And they are really growing, and especially with the board adopting the new STAR curriculum, which thank you for giving that, particularly for Trailside. It has been a huge addition to grow all of our students at Trailside, and the aides are on board and the teachers are learning that quickly. Of course, a DLI program, we don't need to say more there, but there are some challenges within our DLI program in terms of even those students that have IEPs, 504s, and allowing those students to meet all of their needs socially and academically. Grade level spectrums was just kind of a phrase I coined. We talk about students that are on grade level, 1 grade level below, or 2 grade levels below. And at Trailside, I just feel the systems are tight when it comes to the P30 groups, knowing their data, making sure that they're meeting all of their minutes in their P30 time, rotating those groups frequently so they're not with the same teacher, and just reevaluating them constantly. So we're definitely growing all students academically in ways that are equitable. When we think of our social potentials, so that's, again, that's what I tell our teachers, like, they don't come to school to talk to you, they want to talk to one another, and that's where they learn their best social skills. And it's an exhaustive list, but we do have the Crowns to College program where there's a character trait of every week, and we celebrate those students. Our counseling services between our part-time social worker and our full-time counselor, they are finding problems before we are, and they are identifying them and going to classrooms, meeting the needs of the students and making sure that that obstacle is removed so they can achieve not only their academic but social potentials. We introduced Excellent ELK Awards. We were finding that our school-wide expectations were lacking, and so we wanted to basically ramp them up. And so Miss Megan created a fun little box, and we have tickets, and we're recognizing students that are being safe, responsible, and respectful in the hallways, assemblies, bathrooms, and we're honoring them. And then there's a drawing every Monday to recognize our excellent ELKs. PBIS, a great way to support social expectations and also reward students. The laser bucks is what we reward students with when they're caught being safe, respectable, or responsible, and then they can cash those in for a myriad of rewards. I think the most popular one right now is they get to tour the school, and Trailside, if you didn't know, has 2 elevators. And so they get to go and find the elevators, and they get to go into the custodian's office, and then they've identified the brains of the school, which is our IT room. So that tour takes about 30 minutes, so you have to carve out time, but they're very excited to see the elevators. And then our PTO, I can't say enough about the PTO and how they encourage social achievement through our dances. All the fundraisers they're doing, they're very inclusive, and we just see our students growing socially through all of those events. All right, academic success, why we're here. So once again, we're trying to develop the potential of every student. And I think what I appreciate the most about the district and the elementary schools is it's very data-driven. We are looking at best learning practices, and everything we do is evidence-based. And so on the right, those are the ways that we're doing that at Trailside. For me personally, it's been valuable to align with all of the elementary school leaders. Kim Howe and Jackie Spell are just a wealth of knowledge, and they've been so welcoming to introduce me to the systems. And with the 4 of us have been very intentional, and we realize it's a growing thing, that it's not going to happen overnight. So every time we're meeting, we're talking about how we can be more alike than different, still meet the needs of our population, but also make sure we're growing students. And then the standard things that I know you've all heard about, our weekly PLCs that we meet, which was today, our Friday professional development, that's a combination of teaching and learning, admin led, and then we've had a few culture Fridays that have been fun to sprinkle in throughout the year. Every week it's the grade level data dive. So this week, for example, it's 1st grade. And the goal is that I try to spend as much time in the 1st grade classrooms leading up to that, so we have more data on MLL students and what's happening with curriculum. Coaches meetings, of course, I'm not present for those, but that's great communication when our instructional coach and tech coach attend the meetings and they come back with the academic plans that we need to implement for our teachers. Elementary school principal work sessions, those are happening every month, and we make sure that we are aligned and we have a pretty tight, full agenda. Usually we have to roll the agenda. There's a lot to talk about. And then, of course, the walkthroughs. And then I added parent-teacher conferences. Education can't be successful or happen if you don't have 3 parts, which is, of course, the teacher, who I believe is the most important person in the room, the students, but the parents. And our parent-teacher conferences were so successful. In many cases, the teachers had 100% attendance of their families, and they're going over data. 4th and 5th grade in this last rotation did student-led conferences, which was so fun to walk through and see the kids nervously presenting their data to their parents, and you can't hide when the parents are right there in the room. So big part of academic success are our families. Leadership. So looking at the district initiative of having transparency, clarity, and accountability at all times and in all situations. And we do this with our students, and we do this with our staff. So we're supporting student leadership again with our excellent ELKs and making sure they're recognized and celebrated. 5th graders have jobs. Take it very seriously. They do get paid with some trinkets. And then they also have buddy readers. So we see our 5th graders moving about the campus. So with kindergarten, classes have class leaders. And then going back to the Crayons to College is a great way to exploit their leadership and show their potential with those different character traits that are happening every week. This week, the character trait is quality. So we're talking about quality work, making sure that they're not rushing and they're being accountable for their own work. With the staff and leadership, we do have the committees that you've probably heard other schools have. It's a great way to be not hands off, but let those teachers exploit their talents and lead their committees and find the needs of the school. We have a running document, and then I'll review it, and then I comment on the things that they're interested in and they want to know about. So I love exploiting people's talents and their leadership and giving them those opportunities. Professional development. There have been a couple of Fridays where I've been able to ask teachers to lead the professional development. And one example of that landed very well. We were again concerned about our MLL population. We were concerned about how we're going to use these strategies and how can we quickly get teachers to implement an MLL strategy with their curriculum. So I asked our DLI teachers to present. Well, they're teaching another language to students and they do it every single day and they've had the training. So let's let the DLI teachers run the PD. So we clustered with third, fourth, and fifth grade, and we had fourth and fifth grade, and we had the DLI teachers present to the fourth and fifth grade non-DLI teachers, and then we flipped it and we did K3 with DLI and they presented to the non-DLI teachers. And I will say I was in both of them, and the second grade DLI teachers in first, second, and third made us go through an activity as if we were a student. And as a grown-up, I was nervous and sweating and realizing like, I can't speak French and I have to speak out loud in front of my peers. So it really gave us all a sense of what our students might be feeling. But it was great feedback to use teachers that are craft. They know their craft, they've been trained, and they can get in their hands-on and come alongside their peers and be leaders. PCBL leaders, I think this is also another thing to point out. We were asked as schools to create these cohorts, and we didn't really know what it was going to look like. But I know at Trailside, our PCBL committee, they've become the leaders of their grade level with what they're doing. And they're gaining that confidence. And I can see the next step becoming they want to take it to their grade levels and to their peers and start showing how they're using PCBL in their classrooms. That's been exciting to see. Safety committee, sorry, Tricia. Safety committee, that is kind of its own entity. I mean, that's imperative that we're running the safety drills. We're walking the building. We have Deputy Moody, Jamie Weeks, our dean, and then Heidi Kaiserman, our PE teacher. And then we found flaws in the building that we're reporting to district, making sure that windows are safe and we're not missing any locks, which with the new wing, there were locks that need to be adjusted in blinds. And then finally, I consider our specialists to be leaders in the school. They're taking a lot on in terms of assemblies, school-wide behaviors. They're teaching preschool through fifth grade, and they really do become natural leaders for the school. Communication, you can never over communicate, and you're always going to do it wrong. No matter how I've communicated in my past districts that I've worked in, there's always somebody wants one more thing. So we try really, really hard to meet the needs as we get the feedback. On the left, board members, I know you receive our Have You Heard? It is our weekly glance, and it includes everything from your board meetings to community events. Birthdays are on there with the staff, things that are happening on campus. There is a version for staff. There's a Spanish version, and then there's a family version because the community doesn't need access to everything. Every morning, that's my face. And every morning I come in and I record about a 3-minute morning announcement video. And it always starts with what's for lunch, so that students have time to think about their lunch choices. And then we go into the character trait of the week. We talk about how examples I may have seen on campus or how they can use that character trait. For example, quality, making sure their work is thorough. We also celebrate birthdays, staff birthdays, and student birthdays, and it's very important to do half birthdays. I am a summer baby and I never had my birthday announced at school. So we did a little math lesson and we made sure that all the half birthdays were celebrated as well. And they get to come to the office and get a prize from the birthday prize box in Mrs. Wilborn's office that Miss Megan manages beautifully every day. And then in addition, there's classroom newsletters, leader visibility. If I'm not scheduled, I'm at drop off, pickup, and lunch duty as much as possible, those morning and afternoon times. District correspondence, making sure that what's being put out is also communicated and supported from the school level and for me. And once again, the Trailside PTO, they have their own Instagram page. It is well done, and they're communicating all the PTO events and things that are pertinent to our school. Timely correspondence, my philosophy is within 24 hours, you respond to families first and anybody that has a need for the school. Staff is on usually 48 hours, but probably sooner. So. And this is not this list is not exhaustive. We have so many people on our campus and it is so fun. I think every day of the week, there's something cool walking in the door to give to our students and it's never ending. There are things up there that we didn't miss. I think especially with the health, talking to Sandy, our nurse, and going through who is supporting our students with health needs, which again, with our special needs population not decreasing, our MLF population not decreasing, these are going to be things we have to keep live for our students because those needs are going to continue to increase. And then we have all the great things like the therapy dogs, Deputy Moody's up there. I do say our SRO has been a great addition, not only as an employee, but also as a community alliance. And he, you know, his other fellow deputies come on campus and they walk the building with us. And it's just been really great to have him on campus. That is a sticker of his face. And so on SRO day, the entire campus, staff and students, all had a sticker of Deputy Moody that they wore, and he did not know. So he was walking around campus for probably, 30 minutes before you realize, like, why is my face on every person in this building? So we do love our support with the SRO. Now my favorite part. Okay, we get to celebrate two amazing humans. So I think, and can I just start talking about them? Okay, so I want to talk about. So first I want to start with Carolyn Jackson. Carolyn has been in the district for 10 years. And this year we asked her to do something that is very difficult. So at the basically at the last hour of planning, she was in my office and I'm telling her, you're going to teach 3rd and 4th grade ELA with a partner teacher she wasn't expecting, and you're going to learn 2 different pieces of curriculum. So Carolyn has taken it upon herself to just be an amazing team player. She's positive, she's flexible. She had to learn wit and wisdom, arts and letters, and 95%. And you all are familiar with how hard those programs are to learn. And she did all 3 of them this year. She's also supporting 4th grade science. So she spends half her day with 4th grade, half her day with 3rd grade. And then at the end of the day, yes, she's also supporting 4th grade science. She's also doing 3rd grade P30, which is that intensive time of 30 minutes where students are 2 grade levels below, and she's getting them to read and write like nobody's business. It's quite impressive to walk by her room and they're just like furiously writing. Or I think my favorite observation is she was trying to get them to do a task, and one student was literally hiding the book under his desk because he didn't want to stop reading the book that she had introduced. So super engaging classroom. She does progress monitoring for our students, and she's also a member of the Elevations cohort, which is a platform that we're using for our MLL students. And the 4th grade teachers decided to go through the program so they can learn more strategies for our MLL students. Carolyn's amazing. And I think at the end of the year, she's going to take a deep breath and realize that she took on so much for us this year. So Carolyn Jackson. And then I think everybody knows Megan. If you don't, you're missing out. Megan is, she's our first impressions. You know, she is at the front desk. I could say so many things about Megan, and I will. So first of all, I think you guys need to understand that she could be on Broadway, or she could be in an improv series. She could be a comedian, but she chose us. She chose Park City School District to share her days. But if you give Megan a microphone or a megaphone, or really just, you know, play a little music, she's going to entertain you. I think that I hope the district appreciates how important it is to have that person on the end of the phone that sounds amazing. I have a family that happens to be my neighbors. They moved from LA. They're in the DLI program, and they were just trying to decide. I don't know if you even know this story. They were trying to decide where they wanted to put their child in the district and surroundings. And my neighbor said, as soon as I heard Megan's voice, I knew this is where my children are coming. So that was just like a 30-second phone call, but she's that person. She not only will greet you and love on you and make sure that you feel like the most important person in the room, she knows what she's doing. So everything from budget to the subsystem, to Munis, to, you know, where do I send this piece of paper, Megan? She knows it. So not only can she operate our building, I firmly believe she could train and operate just about any institution in Park City. So I'm glad she did not choose Broadway. I'm glad she's with us, and Megan is amazing, as you know. So Megan Lucan.
Have the 2 of you join us, and then Park City Education Foundation and PCNR and
Yeah, and I just wanted to say a couple words. I come from a family of educators, so I was so excited to get a call to be here today and be able to celebrate you guys on behalf of Vail, Epic Promise, and Park City Mountain. My daughter was in Park City School District for 12 years. She started at McClellan and just graduated last year. She's a freshman at Utah Tech now, and I attribute so much of her success to the preparation she had going through Park City School District and the opportunities she had here, and just the amazing teachers. Like every year, she would come home and just be inspired by different teachers. Yeah, so thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Oh.
For you, right?
Our agendas usually not look like this, the Ed Foundation comes to the first track. So she skied early and then that family. They're crazy about that.
One, two, three. Here's one more. One, two, three.
Yeah, so you'll be able to choose either $100 dining certificate for any of the Vail Resort restaurants, $100 gift certificate for any of the Vail Resorts retail, which is also probably based on Main Street. That's one of my. Here, or Monday was. Yeah, that is amazing. Yes, congratulations.
And then finally, I just wanted to say thank you. I do not take serving students lightly. It is a privilege and it's an honor to serve in education. It's one of the most intimate institutions you can be a part of. I would challenge any career to say otherwise, because as soon as you step into a school as a teacher, any kind of leader, you are invited into that child's life, and it is a privilege and an honor to serve Trailside. So thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Carolyn, you just leave. You do not have to say. I'll enjoy your evening.
So next up, we have our consent agenda, which includes the regular session minutes of January 20th, the closed session minutes of January 20th, board retreat minutes of February 11th, arts and letters adoption, Rocky Mountain easements, school leadership alliance contract, travel request, personnel, and board revenue and expenditures from January 26th.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I second. All in favor? Aye.
Eileen says that.
Well, we're way ahead of schedule, so I could come back. I don't know if anybody's going to points.
But I have one question. From the Trailside presentation, like we started talking about the special ed. Number of students there, and I got the sense there's more in Trailside than anywhere else.
No,
Just, we have some students with severe needs.
I would say there are more kids with complex needs
Okay,
that we are seeing now than in previous years, but it's not unique to Trailside.
okay,
It's across all grade levels, all buildings.
okay. That's what I wanted to know. Because if it was more in Trailside, I would really want to understand what's going on with Trailside.
Yes, it's across the district.
Interesting.
If everybody's okay, why don't we come back to
Yeah.
public comment, we could just, in case somebody comes. So we will move on to monthly reports from our employee groups, but we can start with Layla, for student in the board.
This month, or maybe it's been the last month, I think it's this month, we have winter formal. I never actually ended up receiving the attendance report, but I think this year was actually way better than we have done in years past. I think a large part of that was we had student DJs. So not only did we save money, but people wanted to come and support those seniors. And I think one junior who came, and they were actually pretty good. So it was a deal. I think just general feedback is kids want less than 3 hours. And then a smaller space, maybe just to make it seem like there's more people there than there actually is. We also had sophomore and junior pickleball this week, which was probably the most attended class event that we've had. So we got 2 winners for that. Lots of people came there dressing up. It was actually really fun. And then I think we had student council chatted with Mr. Fine about our new mascot ideas, what we're thinking about Manny for the senior gift. And I think the general consensus is probably sticking with Manny and just revamping him a little bit.
You guys didn't like the Yeti? I'm kidding.
We did some mock-ups from Mr. Fine.
Yeah.
I think the class was just more comfortable with Manny and not moving towards an animal, and all the elementary schools kind of have like the staple Park City animals already, so I think they're just gonna stick with what we know. Hopefully I'll have pictures for that soon. Freshman hide and seek is also this Thursday, so that's, I think, their first class event this year, so you should go, freshmen should go. And then Mr. Minor was going to be Thursday, but that is unfortunately canceled. I think because nobody wanted to, not enough people wanted to be Mr. Minor this year, I think. So hopefully, maybe, I'm not sure, but push that back a little and encourage more people to join, because that's the dance team's biggest fundraiser of the year.
Do you think it's timing or what contributed to the
I don't know.
lack of participation?
Because usually a lot of senior boys really do enjoy it. I don't really know why or what's going on right now, but hopefully they don't cancel it fully and we can just push it back.
Okay.
But I'll definitely be talking to them because we're curious.
Yeah.
We're also getting ready for Teacher Appreciation Week, which is always really exciting. The teachers voted on having that stay in May this year as opposed to March or April. And then we also have Wish Week coming up. It's March 1st through the 7th. Our wish kid is Journey. She's 10 years old and her wish is to go to Universal in Orlando to see Harry Potter and go to the beach. So we have a bunch of fun spirit days and activities. Monday will be denim day, and at lunch there's a soda bar. I think we're still seeing if there's going to be a poker night. The people wouldn't be gambling the money, it would just be a $25 donation and buy-in, and then the prizes would be just water bottles and all that stuff. Tuesday's Adam Sandler Day with a permanent jewelry stand at lunch, and then a donation night at Estes Pizza. And then Wednesday is PJ Day and College Merch Day with, I think, the permanent jewelry stand is 2 days in a row. And then there's a movie night, which is Harry Potter in the lecture hall. It's free admission, but a $5 donation is recommended. Thursday is movie character day, and then crumble at lunch, which is always a popular one among the students. And then I think a yoga event at PC Yoga. And then Friday we have our assembly, which is a Navy out, because that's Jeremy's favorite color, and everybody will get to meet her. And then we also have Miracle Minute at the assembly, which is usually a large part of donations. And then the students are all getting interested in asking questions about the Latin honor system as it has been introduced recently. I think, as always, when there's a big shift, there's confusion and maybe just uncomfortableness with the shift, but I think it'll end up being good. And then people are registering for classes this week and next week, and I think so far from the student body, the largest piece coming from that is confusion and maybe a little bit of frustration among varsity athletes about the athletic period, what I've been hearing. I think a lot of students are just feeling a little bit of stress because they feel as though they can't stack their schedules fully as they may like because they're required to go every other day to their sport. But I think as that's maybe explained on a deeper level, opinions may shift, but I think right now among varsity students, that's discipline of frustration. And then I think that's it for this month.
Are they sharing that feedback with counselors and administration, or how is that feedback being shared?
Not all students have received the counseling in their classes so far, I think just sophomores.
Yeah, I think
Maybe,
sophomores
yeah.
were this week.
Sophomores, and the counselors they're hearing a lot in class questions, just like, because once they hear that up front, it's kind of a shock to their system, I think, so they're just like, what is this, what's happening? But the counselors are encouraging them to email Jamie Sheets and Mr. Fine.
Okay.
But I think once the juniors and seniors and freshmen hear about that, there will be more communication.
So what comes to you quickly, what they're having to take?
So it's interesting that this is in the course catalog because we skipped a step. Oh, okay. Many high schools across the state have an athletics period, and the idea is athletes are not missing instructional time because they have that fourth period either for practice or games, and then they're getting home earlier on a day where they would normally get home at 6, 7 o'clock because they can start practice earlier. We're one of the few school districts who has not offered that athletics period. It affords them an elective credit for pass-fail credit. It's GPA neutral. So, yeah, we'll be having some offline conversations with high school administration.
Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Thank you, full option.
Lori, that attachment didn't come. Oh, emails.
Right.
I'm not sure why.
Like we need some old music.
Let's talk about student council members. There's the next one.
I don't think the next one's.
All right, there you go.
April and May.
Well, not trying to talk.
Yes.
Are we sure? Because we're not meeting in March.
Yeah, it just took a minute. Like you. Yeah.
And 19th of March.
Yes, so we would like to go on the 19th of March.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Susan, Kathleen, we can have two.
Student council, the 19th.
It's the 19th of March, so Nick will go, and then one other,
I don't have my calendar. I can go. to the
Okay.
meeting.
And then we'll all be together. We have. We do that once.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it goes to
And I have a big meeting, that is. Workshop. Okay, so Laura, are we good? Good on your calendar? Okay.
Yes.
So Lori forwarded me. Statement. This is from Kristen, right?
Yeah. you can see
Okay,
that.
good. So from Park City Education Foundation, Parent Educators Association. Thank you to the Board of Education and the district office for your continued support and responsiveness in addressing our concerns. We appreciate the time, communication, and collaboration you've shown with educators, and we value the positive working relationship we've built together. The Park City Education Association is looking forward to beginning the negotiations process for the local professional agreement this week. We are hopeful for productive, transparent discussions that support our educators and ultimately benefit our students and schools. We are also closely watching the Utah legislative session and will continue to stay engaged at the state level on policies that impact public education and the educators we represent. Thank you again for your partnership and commitment to our school community.
And I didn't see anyone from PCSD. I haven't heard from her, so she didn't say anything.
All right, next up, we've got a decision item from the Athletic Foundation. Anything to say or?
So just as, I mean, y'all are already a little bit.
I know, we're-
scheduled, so
we're,
I don't know, would it be possible? to-
Look, don't blame us, we're just rocketing through it.
Yeah. Ask if you could wait until she gets here, but.
We can skip to open enrollment, yeah, no problem. We can- Okay, so next, we're back to y'all, yes, so Randy, we have open enrollment applications.
Yeah, so we came to you in November, which the board at that time elected to open enrollment for the application process, which goes till the first Friday in February, which is February 6th, that's passed. This sheet is similar in your packet to the sheet we showed you in November. So we've updated that with class size in kindergarten of 20, as well as an extra column that has an OOB request, out of boundary requests. And so you can see the projection plus the out of boundary requests on the elementaries for each area. So showing it this way with the class sizes anticipated, it shows you in that last column how many spots are available. And this is after the out of boundary request. We had 190, something like that. There's probably around 190 requests, whatever.
So
that
these are
counts.
still available.
So these are still available. So you can see the problem area is really in the kindergarten area. Where we typically have 3 sections, and with the lower class size, not as much room there. On the secondary side, you can see there's still space available in those schools. And again, this is based on number of classrooms in the building that are available, not necessarily number of teachers. We have ran those calculations and we're really okay with number of teaching staff in each of the schools. So you can see those numbers as well. So what we're looking at now, I think administratively, we're excited about the number of kindergarten kids that want to get in, because that helps establish possibly us in the future as far as not losing enrollment or at least trying to break even, which is going to be critical now if the bill passes that now funds education on head count rather than ADN, right? Which is still in the system and is still a possibility. So I've provided a proposed motion. I think administratively, the superintendent can correct me if it's different. I think administratively we support these. And we would suggest allowing those applications in based on the order they applied up to February 6th. And then giving the superintendent authority that if we can within the budget manage that if we needed to add a class to not like prevent kindergarten kids, for example, not saying that'll happen. We give them the superintendent the authority to make those decisions. That would come to you in the form of the budget approval. So,
Because if you look at Poland in particular, the kindergarten, you know, there's a high chance that we may need to add a teacher to keep class sizes at that 20 threshold that we like them.
We don't want to stack up those problems.
No.
So how many understands, we have 3 kindergarten classes. And with the out of bounds students, we have 73 students.
yes, so no, the projection is 73 students. So that's what the superintendent is saying. Even with the projection at a class size of 20, we're
It's still
over where
over,
we'd
we
like
have
to
to add
be.
another.
Yeah.
We'd likely need one more to keep that class size low.
So can you help me understand what the minus, the red ones are?
That's,
Yeah, so this is, so for example, Jeremy Ranch, you can see there's 3 classrooms at 20 students per class. That gives them space available for 60. Our projection is 59, so they basically have 1 spot available,
Okay,
but there's 3 out of boundary, 13 out of boundary requests, which says if we were to accept all those, we're having by 12 students,
okay, so we would have to,
which means we would either have to internally say, hey, we're gonna adjust, maybe add additional class. That's gonna depend on availability in the school. It's gonna depend on hiring, it's gonna depend on budget, and all those factors. And that's what I personally would propose, given the superintendent the authority to make those calls.
It may be that we're you know, overstaffed in a grade level and we could move, right, to sustain those increases. But that's something we feel confident that we could do internally without having to come back before the board and say, as Randy said, it'd be built into the budget, but we know that at some of our other grade levels, we have classes of 12, 15. And we wanna keep our kindergarten classes much shorter. I have a 5-year-old, so I know.
Yeah.
They can be challenging at times.
Intern.
Yes, love them, love them.
You may have answered this right now, I'm gonna say, but how much money do these out of boundary requests allow us to keep in the district? So
So,
there's the WPU and then
Yeah.
there's money from the districts they're coming from, right? Do we have a sense of what that amount?
so easy calculations, 100, let's just say 200 kids versus 40, let's say $4,500 for rounding. So you're looking at $900,000. So when we pay back recapture, or when they take our recapture, whichever way that bill ends up, when that happens, that would be that much less
Okay,
that would go to the state. I'm not saying, I won't say the overall dollar amount, but the portion that we're sending normally. Now that portion would be more would stay with us.
It
It
would
really
really be
depends
great
on the
to
rate.
have a, right, it would be great to have a number on it, right? Because that's really why we're doing this, right? But it's
Yeah.
partly to keep classes at a good size, be able to run programs and all of that. But it would be really good to be able to put a number on the amount of money we're able to keep in our district by doing this.
Yeah, and the other piece, it's hard to budget until the new numbers come out, but also the district those kids are from. Right, they're required to pay half for the
Right.
local distribution, so there's money on top of it.
Right, that's the piece I thought you wouldn't have.
But if everything stays even recapture wise, the rate's the same, our collections are the same, then we would retain more money here in our district than paying back to the state.
and does this take into consideration if there was any new families moving into, did you just put that in there?
That's part of the projection. So in the projection, we use what we call, sorry for lack of a better word, survival ratios. So we'll look at the progression between grades and then see how that fluctuates, which includes the in-migration piece as well. So that's already included in the production piece. That doesn't mean from these numbers, we couldn't have more families move in, but
Right.
this is what's projected at the moment.
We ready for a motion?
You ready for a motion? I'm ready.
Yeah, I buy it.
I got it.
So, I make a motion to approve open enrollment for the 26-27 school year, allowing out of boundary students to attend Park City School District schools within the parameters set forth in policy 10010 and with the following conditions. 1, the maximum number of out of boundary students allowed will be determined by space availability by grade at each school. 2, priority will be given to out of boundary early enrollment applications received as of Feb 6, 26. And 3, if the superintendent determines there is available space in a school or grade and adequate teaching staff can be funded as presented with the proposed 26-27 budget, the superintendent has authority to allow additional out of boundary students. That was me.
I
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Questions? Okay, please. You want me to go to school fees? We're still waiting for,
Sure, let's do
those are fine. Yeah.
it. So school fees, this is for next year. School fees have to have a first and second reading. Used to be, it had to be approved by April 1st. No longer is that the case, but I've still brought it early because then it's not muddled in with the rest of our budget process, right? We can get it out of the way. We give schools and programs opportunities to submit fees or changes to fees, which has occurred. What you're gonna see in this document is you're going to see bold items and non-bold items. The bold items mean the fee has changed. On a few of the schedules, you'll see what the 26 approved rate was and what the proposed 27 rate or fee is. On the Eckerd Hill Middle and on the high school, you'll see just next year's fees. But it'll be bolded if it's increased, If it's not bolded, it's not increased. One extra factor I need to make the board aware of, we are implementing a school accounting system. We're actually having training in March. We're discussing it tomorrow, having a kickoff meeting tomorrow with our administrators. This will go live probably no later than April 1st. What this will allow is parents to go in, click on a button or click on a link, pay their kids' fees. It's tied to Power School. They can put teams, the kids that are on teams or clubs in there, so a parent can go one-stop shop and pay those fees. It does not include nutrition services. There's a few pieces it doesn't include. USA Swimming, we're keeping separate. The program LEO, we're keeping separate, which is for our after-school program and preschool, because it has a check-in, check-out component, so they can track what kids are there and what kids aren't there. So with this new system, CAD, it's called, or School Cash, parents would be able to go in and just do it right online, right? We're trying to make it easier for parents. We're trying to free up staff time as well with the current process. That system will generate a file to put in our accounting system. We import it, we post it, it's a done deal. It takes away there's a lot of automation there that we don't have right now between schools and the district office as far as recording these finances. There is a 5% fee included in that. We've allocated a 5% fee, so if there's $100 fee, we're actually gonna charge $105. That covers the transaction fee on that. The one piece we have not induced a fee is on the fundraising. The fundraising typically comes in the form of check. If it's a card, we're gonna have to eat it, but if it's check or cash, we deposit that again through the KEV system and make the deposit, but we're not paying a transaction fee on it typically. So 5% of this, of most of them, is part of that fee. If it's not bolded, we infuse the fee on there. So there's a $5 change, for example, on $100. It'll say 105 now, where they didn't change the fee. We're trying to make sure that the amount that the sport or the club or activity needs stays with that group of folks. So we're not taking money from them to cover that fee. We're having the person swiping, which is the way it is in America today. You swipe and there's a fee. So happy to entertain any questions. I know Isaiah's here. Caleb's trying to make it. But if you have questions about any of the fees, this is a first reading. It'll come to you again in the April meeting as a second reading before it's final. So if you haven't quite had enough time to get through it, you can always approve it on a first reading and take more time between now and then to go through it. So happy to entertain any questions.
About the system that you were talking about.
Yes.
So is it transparent to the parents that they're paying them the $5 if they use their credit card? And if they want to do a check online, it's $5 less? Or
So
is everybody paying?
everybody's gonna pay it.
Okay, so it'll cover, okay, so
It'll
it's
cover
built
just those
into the
costs.
cost.
Yes.
And then is it centralized here at the district level, or does all the schools have their own?
The schools will have their own. So for example, if I'm a parent at the high school, a parent of the high school, I've got to go in, I've got to pay for football, let's say. I go in and I pay for football. I can actually do that from home.
Mhm.
It's web-based. Where right now I've got to go in. I've got to get with the finance person which is typically Donna. She has to go into Power School, say this kid's part of football, figure out the fee, collect it, post it in the Munis system and the Power School system. And then it's not posted yet.
Yeah.
It's not posted yet. Now she sends a document to us in the business office and we take it and we hand her it all to post it in the right place. That's kind of the archaic
Right.
process we're going through now. So that's gonna simplify.
And be more
temporary.
efficient.
Yeah.
So now, when
So
the
the
money
parent can go to that
comes
school.
through, it's automatically posted to Power School.
So Power School is the mechanism that says, I'm in this class, I pay this fee.
Right.
So it makes it easier for the staff as well, once that's set up. From there, it will go from KEV. KEV will produce a file each night. And then the business office will grab that file and post it. Yeah, it's an import. So we've got some programming that we're doing, writing a script basically to say, take this file, post it into Munis, which is our accounting system. And we can just post it. It's gonna put it, all the accounts in the back are set up. So it's gonna post it to the right group in the right account.
So it'll be cleaner and there'll be no more checks sitting here and there and everywhere. And then it's a parent, yeah, hopefully.
There won't be as many checks,
Yeah.
but we're also doing check scanners.
Okay,
So rather than us going to the bank every time we have a check, because we've got a 3-day rule, we'll just,
yeah, it is.
the only thing we have to go to the bank for is cash.
If a parent has several students, can they do it all on one portal, or do they
Yes.
have to go, okay, so they can.
They can just go right to Kev. So if I've got a student at the high school and at Ecker, for example, typically the elementary don't have a lot of fees, right? There's not a lot going on there. They may have a fine or damage for their, you know, their device. So yeah, I can go in and look up all my kids at the same time. Yeah.
Donna doesn't know it yet, but it's gonna change her life.
I was gonna say.
For the amount of time she's
Yeah.
spent
Extraordinary.
collecting fees, processing, sending documentation to the business office,
Tedious.
she's gonna get hours back.
Does this system also let parents know if they have a fee?
If they owe a fee, yeah, there's all kinds of setups we can do. So one of the first things that'll happen is we'll push it out to parents. When we go live, again, I think we're closer to April 1 than we were shooting for March 17th. I think we're just a little tight. Yeah, notice will go out to all parents to go and enroll in the system. And you have their own user and their students will be tied to those parents. Yeah, it's based on what's in Power School.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Other
there's-
districts, any other districts use the system?
So it's funny you asked that. So Cache School District was using it, which was appealing to us because they have the same accounting system. The majority of districts in the state use TES, what we call TES. Pretty common. Kev just bought out TES about 60 days ago.
Oh.
So we bid this out it's probably been a year. I mean, Kip was still here. It's been a year since we bid this out and decided on Kev. And we've just slowly been implementing it. And when we did it, TES was the other vendor that presented to us. We chose Kev over TES and now Kev has absorbed TES. So now all the schools in the state that are on TES that wish to are going to Kev. We just had a conversation with Kev today on a meeting and asked, are there transitions going on? We talked about the Alpine transition with 3 districts. So most of those districts that are on TES are going to Kev. It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of the only product out there, so to speak, that does this type of thing. So,
We'll have training tomorrow morning with our principals and secretaries.
So eventually, will this help with staffing? If we.
In what way?
In-
reducing staffing,
Reducing staffing. Like say somebody retired or we ran into a situation like we did 10, 15 years ago when we couldn't get people to work for this.
I think it's too early to tell. We
Yeah.
don't know what we don't know. So.
it's gonna save.
It'll save you probably a lot of.
So like in the business shop, I'll just tell you, for example, we have other things to implement, right?
Yeah.
So is this gonna save us time? Absolutely, but then it's gonna give us more time to implement these other
Does the
things.
system have other modules and features to help the business?
They're strictly this type of fee. They do accept donations, so we'll work with the foundations to have a link on there for donations. We'll work with them on that, but yeah, strictly it's.
And they don't do nutrition service.
I think we could get there. I just wasn't willing to bite it all off at one time. Yeah.
No pun intended.
I think
Keeping my sanity, yeah.
we have identified a lot of automation within Munis we had not been utilizing.
Yeah.
So Randy and his team have done a great job in terms of rolling that out to increase our efficiencies, if you will, and bring us to 2026.
Is this linked to Munis? For your account?
This does not, there's not an API between Munis. We found it was gonna be easier than to go to Munis and request an API and work through that. It was gonna be easier to take their output file. We write a script
Then they put it.
through Python. I've got 2 young guys working in our department with me. We run a script through Python and just have it convert to what the file needs to be to import into.
That'll save you
Munis.
a ton of time.
Well, it'll save whoever was entering, I wasn't. in.
Well, yeah,
So-
whoever, well, yeah.
I hope to God.
But anyway.
Yeah, whoever's centering all of that.
What I believe is it will free our financial secretaries.
Yes.
At the secondary schools, because they, high
Spend a
school in
lot of
particular, spend a lot of time
Yes.
collecting fees.
Mhm.
And I think to see more people pay with a card than they come in with the check and cash,
Right.
right? Which is also for us an increase on controls
Mhm.
within our accounting system,
Right.
right? So yeah, it sounds like you push one button and it's awesome. I know it's not gonna be that clean,
No,
but it's a vast improvement from what we've been doing.
It's a learning curve and there will be some growing pains, but this is the right
it's
direction.
a good, yeah, you'll save a lot of,
Or changing banks at the same time. So changing over to Wells Fargo from Chase, yeah. So that's gonna probably go, I'm trying to be brave enough to run a payroll on Wells Fargo and be assured that everybody's getting paid. What's that?
how many, do you have to bid it out every so many years?
So banks typically, you don't have to bid out. We did bid this out. So banks, like banks, auditors, accounting systems, SIS systems are not really on that 5-year have to bid.
Oh, okay,
Just because who wants to put in an accounting system every 5 years?
right, I just didn't know if a bank, you had to do that for banks.
Bank, you have to go to bid if you're gonna change, so we
Change.
went to bid, yeah. But I mean, this district's been with Chase for a long time. We just felt, well, as we went through it, we had other banks that applied as well or responded. Anyway, has nothing to do with fees, but it's all going on.
All together, yeah, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
Another fee question. So in the past, specifically with sports fees and things, in the past where we've talked about this, we've been able to cover fees for kids who can't afford it. Is that still the case?
yeah, as a matter of fact, in the state of Utah, any child that has a fee waiver, right? We've got to be able to cover it by other means. I can't increase my fee to cover any fee waiver kids I have on my team or activity. I've got to find another way to cover that. The only exception to that would be some of the optional stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna dare say, I don't know if Caleb's made it, but I'm gonna dare say the high school and Ecker both. If there's a child that has a chance to participate and it's funds that are keeping them from that, we're not gonna keep that child from doing that. So,
And we have community partners, that we work with to ensure every child who wants to participate is given that opportunity.
I mean, I know philosophically you'd rather not have fees on things and sometimes it's unavoidable. I just want to make sure we're still able to. I would hate that to be a battle to districts.
and we still don't charge co-curricular fees. Now you can't in the state, but we were the leader in that, right, by funding those. Anyway, yeah.
So we don't have to make the decisions.
So in theory, we have to open it up for public comment just if there's comments on the fees. Because it's a hearing. And then we would need a motion to approve the fees for 27 on a first reading. But it would not be a final approval.
So one day.
So
So do we need to have
So I
that hearing
suggest
now or?
I suggest before motion's made, you open it up if there's public comment specifically on the fees.
Like we're the perfect audience for comments on the fees.
Does anyone have any comments on the school fees that we just?
Seeing none, so we can entertain a motion for approving the fees on a first reading. It's still gonna come back to you in April.
I make a motion to approve the fees on first reading.
Second. Okay, we're in discussion. Good. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
No problem. I know, so, and now I can open it up to, not think of, but. Since it is now 5 o'clock. and that's what we do. The Board of Education wants to hear input from community members at our meetings. In order to respect and preserve the time allotted to each presenter on the agenda, each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Speakers representing a group will be limited to 5 minutes. Maureen, do you have any?
We have you received any by email and I don't receive anything.
Excellent, all right, moving is one. Okay, now we can go back to the Athletic Foundation. Sorry, no, that's fine, totally fine, so. All I have here is that we are seeking, the Athletic Foundation is seeking approval for the board to move forward with their foundation. Correct.
Do anything? to-
Anything else you want?
You just want us to approve it?
Yeah.
So I have I proposed motion, written out for this, well, this is all provided for me. Okay, so, I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding with the Go Miners Athletic Foundation as presented to the Board of Education, contingent on the IRS recognition as a 501c3 entity. Is that right?
Right. Second. Any discussion?
Just again, thank you for all the work you.
Yeah.
So just to remind this group, they will operate almost identical to the Park City
Right.
Education Foundation as a component unit of the district.
And they're for athletics,
Yes.
high school athletics only.
Athletics in general, yeah, the focus will be obviously.
And it's for fundraising, the district itself, being any money into it.
We're
That's up to you guys.
But for future discussion, and part of the reason is to look at, you know, the full athletics master plan, right? So at some point, as they raise money, there's potentially a conversation around us adding money as well. And on that note, it is mostly athletics, but there is a little sideline in some of our extracurriculars because there's finance space and things that are part of Facebook.
Okay, so, all in favor? Aye.
Let's do this.
Okay, we did it. Yay!
Thank you.
All right, last up, this is the best board meeting ever. I know. Okay, we have policies for adoption. The following policies have been posted for required 20 days and are now before the board for adoption. We have policy 3004, student membership, policy 7060, sick leave bank, policy 7090, substitutes, policy 7110, resignations, and policy 10025, homeschool charter school.
You can, I make a motion to approve the stated policies for adoption, and then do have one quick question. Very quick.
Second. Discussion.
So, yeah, no, but my quick question is just, I think when I look at these, we've taken a lot of content out, right? And that just reflects an effort to move things to procedures where we can, rather than having things.
Yeah, so the idea is that the policy itself will be concise. And a lot of the actionable items will be in the procedures, so each year as legislation changes, it's not constantly coming back before the board. Many school districts have moved to this practice. So there's not this consistent revision process with the 20 days. And then coming back before the board.
Awful.
And Lori, didn't you say something recently about getting really caught up with the policy committee and
Yeah,
having,
Yeah.
that where we need to be?
we are. Yeah, I went through the list today. I've added a few more, but yeah, we're doing really well on policy.
We are until this legislative session.
La, 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 la.
We just to see.
Okay, so all in favor of
Aye.
approving this policy? Aye. All right, y'all are awesome. This is amazing.
That's what we give. Do you need a motion to?
I do need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn until our next now regularly scheduled session, which I think is 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
Russell.
All in favor?
Aye.